Hey guys, I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Boom Shakha and I welcome you to my channel. As you guys can tell, I have a little bit of a cold, a little bit of a fever, but I wanted to do this video for you guys today, so hopefully it doesn't bother you guys too much. My raspy voice, hopefully it's kind of sexy. Just kidding. Alright, so in this video I wanted to speak to you guys about planning and how obviously INFJs are major planners, right? We love to plan every single detail of our life down to a T, right? We want to plan what we're going to eat during the day. We want to plan when we're going to take a shower, what we're going to do in the shower. We want to plan who we're going to meet during the week. We want to plan what we're going to read. We want to plan what we're going to dream about. If we would do that as well. And so we're planners. We are overthinkers, we are analyzers, and we're planners. And I meet a lot of planners in my life in general. I think because of the events that I attend perhaps are attended more by planners than by non-planners. Because it's interesting, whenever I'm going to an event with a P, with a spontaneous P, not a J, I have to be the one who has to schedule them in. I have to tell them, okay, the event is today at 5:30 p.m. Today at 5:30 p.m. Put it in your schedule. I'm going to message you beforehand so that you remember that we have to go to an event. And I have to be the one who has to message the person who's in charge of the event, telling them there are going to be 2 people attending, me and my friend, blah, blah. Right? And so I have to be the one who has to make it happen. Otherwise, that person, the spontaneous P, they're not going to do it. They're not going to message the person, so the event might be full, or they're just going to completely forget. And I've had this happen many times to me, where I'm like, all right, cool, we're going to this event, right? We're going to this event next week. And they're like, yeah, we're going. Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be fun. And I think to myself, oh no, this person's definitely going to forget. And so on the day, I'll message them and I'll be like, yeah, so we're going to the event today, right? They're like, today? It's today? But I thought it was on Wednesday. And I'm like, it's Wednesday today. They're like, but, oh my God, it's Wednesday. I completely lost track of time. I didn't know it was today, la, 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 la. And I think to myself, I'm glad I messaged this person. Now, usually they end up going because they're like, all right, cool, I don't have anything happening right now, so I can go. But a lot of times they're like, but I double booked myself. I have something else going on. I'm sorry I can't come. I'm like, all right, cool. But that is what you have to do when you're dealing with a spontaneous P. You as a J has to be the person who organizes them. And so I don't end up hanging out with a lot of spontaneous Ps in these events because they just do not make it to these events. They just don't have, I don't know if the organizational skills or just the tenacity or the persistence or the whatever it might be. There's something missing there. They just don't end up at these events, right? A lot of Js do end up at these events, a lot of planners, a lot of organizers. And in one of these events previously, a couple of weeks ago, I was at this event and this lady was talking about how she had been planning to move to Chiang Mai for a year in advance. So she wanted to move here for a year, but she had been planning for it for a year in advance. So every single day she would get up. She was retired at the moment, so she has a time. But every single day she would get up and she would plan her trip to Chiang Mai. She would think about the language. She'd practice a little bit of the words. She'd think about the map. She had like a map of Chiang Mai in her bedroom pasted on a wall so she could look at it every single day and think to myself, wow, really? She would think about all the different things that she could do in Chiang Mai, all the different events she could go to. She joined up a billion groups on Facebook to figure out what Chiang Mai is all about. She started interacting with people who are already in Chiang Mai to ask them a billion questions. And so every single day she did all of this planning. I mean, immense organizational skills. I commended her on that because when I moved to Chiang Mai, I did a smidgen of research. I was like, all right, cool, it sounds like a good place. Let's go. I booked a hostel for the first 3 days and that's all. I knew a real estate agent that I could contact once I got here. And so I booked a hostel for the first 3 days and I was like, all right, I should be able to find something in 3 days. If not, I'll just extend my trip in that hostel. But within a couple of days, I was able to find something and I moved out and that was it. That was my planning. That is very unusual for me, obviously. It doesn't mean that I didn't do a lot of internal planning, thinking about, what my bank accounts are going to look like, what credit cards can I use. I need to make sure I have a Visa and a MasterCard because some places take Visa, some places take only MasterCards, things like that. So I did a lot of that kind of planning. But with regard to this lady, she did immense amounts of planning, right? And so what is the purpose of this story? She was sitting there in front of me and she was talking about the fact that even though she did a lot of planning. And I'm saying to you guys, she did a lot of planning from a person who plans a lot. I plan a lot, but she was 10xing my planning skills. 10xing. She was 100xing it. Like, she was doing it over and beyond anything that I would ever do, right? And so she was a real planner. And even though she did all this planning, she told me that when she arrived into Chiang Mai, and that was, we met a couple of weeks ago, and she had arrived into Chiang Mai a couple of weeks before that, right? And so she arrived in Chiang Mai, and a couple of days after she arrived, her phone died. And that was the only way she had of contacting her family back home, but also checking her bank accounts, checking email, contacting anything, checking up on Grab, which is one of the ways to get around here. Uber, Grab, Uber version of Asia is Grab. And so she had no way of doing anything anymore. So all of that planning that she did, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of sitting every morning and planning, completely went down the toilet, right? It was completely useless because all of a sudden, well, not completely useless, but at that moment in time, she felt like, what is the point of all this planning that I did when I can't even do anything right now because my phone's not working? And so the reason I wanted to share this story with you guys is that even though we are planners and we think that we've planned for every eventuality out there, we plan for this, we plan for that, and everything's going to be perfectly fine. As long as we do more planning, everything's going to be even better, right? That's the mentality that INFJs have. The more planning, the better it's going to be. The more planning I do, the better my life is going to be. The more control I have over my life, the more smoother my life is going to go. Of course, in reality, it's completely different. You know, snags or obstacles or random things will pop up all the time. And things that you can't even plan for. I mean, how could she have planned for the fact that her phone would break down? It was a new phone. She had bought a new phone just for this trip. And even if it wasn't a new phone, how can you plan for your electronics breaking down? You're not thinking about that, hopefully, unless you're majorly crazy about it. Or if electronics are especially important to you. I carry 2 phones with me just because I know I've had issues with my phones before. So I always carry 2 phones around with me. But that's just me, because I know how important my phone is to me, right? But you can't really plan for every eventuality like that. You just cannot do it, because there's always, even when you guys are roaming around the world and you're doing your planning as an INFJ or as a J in general, you probably notice this for yourself as well, that randomly out of the blue, you know, you're planning, everything's going smoothly, everything seems like everything's perfectly set up, and all of a sudden something happens out of the blue, out of the absolute freaking blue, and you think to yourself, whoa, I didn't expect that, and how did this happen? And it kind of throws a snag into all of your plans. All of a sudden, all of your beautifully laid down plans are completely useless for the moment, in that moment in time. Now, of course, all that planning that this lady did was not useless, you know, because of the fact that she had done a lot of planning. She knew the map of Chiang Mai. She knew how to get around a little bit. She had a few friends here because she had been contacting them beforehand. So she'd contact them and say, I'm sorry, could you help me out with this? Or she could go to an internet cafe. I mean, it wasn't completely hopeless. So she had a few options. But in that moment in time, she felt like all of that work she did was completely useless. And I think that's what happens to INFJs as well. Either we over-plan, and we plan so much that we don't actually even enjoy the moment, or we don't enjoy the event itself. For example, if you're going out to a music festival, I do this to myself all the time. I plan so much on all the different things I need to take. I need to take a sweater, I need to take a mat, I need to take a tent, I need blah, blah, blah. So I'm planning so much that while I'm at the event, I'm like in my head and I can't even enjoy myself. And I really have to pull myself back and say, okay, stop it. Stop planning. Everything is done. If something goes wrong right now, there's nothing you can do to fix it. So just relax and enjoy yourself because you're here right now, right? And so that's one of the things that we do in our planning craziness, that we just forget to enjoy the moment. We just go crazy planning, and we just spend our life planning instead of actually enjoying the moments that we're planning for, right? The point of planning is not to plan. The point of planning is to make your life a little bit smoother so you can enjoy these moments without worrying about things, right? But instead, as INFJs, we make our life about planning. Every single moment is a planning moment instead of a life moment where you can enjoy that particular moment and just be in it. We either do that, or we kind of go the other way where we're like, we plan, but something goes wrong, in our plans, or something becomes a snag, or something comes in and interrupts our plans, and we think to ourselves, all right, what's the point? I'm just gonna give it all up. I'm not gonna plan even a single little bit anymore. I'm just gonna become a spontaneous P. I'm just gonna give up on the entire thing. Planning is completely useless. Why do I even bother? Nothing ever works out the way it's supposed to work out. The world is useless. The universe hates me, etc., etc. We go into that spiral of depression and black hole thinking, where we think to ourselves, everything is crap, and what's the point of anything anymore, right? I'm sure you guys have done that as well. I've done that many times, where, I'll plan for something, for example, a music festival, and I'll plan, and I get there, and I forgot this one important item that I was like, what? How could I forget this? And I think to myself, what is even the point of planning anymore if I'm going to forget these important things? And so I go into that mad spiral of depression, where I think to myself, I'm useless, and what's the point? I'm an idiot. I can't believe I forgot this, etc., etc., right? I don't want us to go into either of those modes, because those are both negative, useless modes to be in. Planning is not completely useless, but planning is also not the ultimate thing that's going to protect you from all of the different evils in the world either, right? It's not that if you plan that you're going to have a very smooth life. It means that you'll have a smoother life than other people perhaps who don't plan, but there'll still be snags that'll pop up. There'll still be obstacles that'll pop up. There'll still be things that'll pop up that you'll be like, all right, cool, I need to deal with this now. But planning is not the ultimate thing either. Planning is not so that you can just plan your life away. It's also so you can enjoy your life a little bit more. And so I want you guys to really think about this when you are living in the moment and you are planning your day out. Think about it. Plan as much as you can, but remember that snags are going to pop up as they do, as life pops up for you. And also, life is not about planning. Life is about living the moments that you planned for, right? So hopefully this kind of like triggers something in your head, and hopefully it kind of helps you a little bit in your own planning days. If you guys have any questions at all, please message me anytime. All of my contact information is in the description below. And hopefully my voice wasn't too raspy and too annoying to you guys. I shall see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.